Canada's progressive media desperately clinging to the past. I'm Brian Lilley with TheRebel.media. The term progressive, it means progress, right? It means going forward, doesn't it? Except when it doesn't, which is most of the time. Right now, there's an attempt to change how Canada's election leader debates are happening. It was started by the Conservatives, embraced by the progressive NDP, funny enough, but a lot in the media are losing their collectivist little minds over this. And it comes down to who controls the debates, not whether we have debates. The fact is, we're going to go from 2 to at least 5, maybe more election debates in this current cycle. And yet, the media are upset. Now, I understand why CTV and CBC and Global are all going to be bothered by this, because if the Conservatives have their way, and it looks like for the most part they will, then those guys won't be in charge of deciding absolutely everything. I mean, think about it. In the old way, with this broadcast consortium controlling the debates, they picked the moderator, they picked the format, they picked the awful set. Look at this picture of the set from the 2011 leaders debate. It looks like Hamilton Place from the 1970s, that yellow and browns and orange. This is horrible. But this was 2011. This is how they made the leaders look. And surprisingly, still 10 million Canadians sat through the English language leaders debates. So all that's going to change come the next round of debates is that someone else could be in charge of the editorial decision making and, thankfully, deciding on the set. Now, as I said, I understand the broadcasters being bothered by this, but why are so many in the print media bothered by this as well? Jeffrey Simpson, that granddaddy of pipe puffers and chin-stroking columns about stuff that nobody cares about, well, he's at it, which is weird because Simpson's media organization, the Globe and Mail, is one of the outlets that's been chosen to host a debate. The NDP's already agreed, the Conservatives agreed, who hasn't? Oh, right, Justin Trudeau hasn't, but that doesn't bother Simpson. Well, first off, it doesn't sound like he trusts his own media outlet to host the debate. Secondly, he wants the broadcast consortium to control everything. Spends a long time talking about how great this is, and then he gets to this point. Let me read to you from Simpson's column. After pointing out his view that the debates with the consortium have to go through with or without Stephen Harper, he says the correct reaction must be complete incredulity that the Harper Conservatives claim they are for more democracy and more informed public discourse. Why? Well, the Conservatives claim that because they want more debates, not just the 2, but that's not good enough for Simpson. Over at the Sudbury Star, Ruth Farquhar says this. She thinks Stephen Harper's hiding. I mean, think of it. There could be 10 million people watching the debate when the leader of the opposition, Thomas Mulcair, asks Prime Minister Stephen Harper to explain why Nigel Wright gave Mike Duffy $90,000. Do you really think that won't come up in the other debates? Do you really think Canadians won't watch? The other debates are open to the broadcasters. Open your ears and your minds, you nimwits. Speaking of nimwits, Michael Harris. Michael Harris, the once respected journalist, broadcaster, author who now writes in the tinfoil hat regions of left-wing websites, well, he has this to say. He says, my congratulations to Prime Minister Stephen Harper and the Conservative Party. They found an even better form of voter suppression than robocalls. They have refused to participate in the TV debates put on for every general election by Canada's network television consortium since 1968. Again, Michael, they can still broadcast the debates. They're just not going to be the ones in charge of everything. Now, being in charge of debates seems to be a big thing for the left. They don't like independent media outlets like the Globe or Maclean's, or even outside groups like the Monk Center being in charge of the editorial content of the debates. They don't mind the consortium, but what they really want is some outside body to control it. So Stephen Marr summed up pretty well what many of them are saying. There's got to be an outside body. Marr says it would be much better to establish an organization of elders to supervise the arrangements. Elections Canada's advisory board featuring Ian Binney, Lise Bissonnette, Sheila Fraser, Preston Manning, Bob Ray, Roy Romano, and Hugh Siegel should be asked to take over in future years so we can avoid this kind of foolish game playing. Aren't we all adults? Can't the media outlets and the parties decide for themselves how to arrange debates? How this has turned into a national crisis is beyond me. More debates is a good thing. If Stephen Harper doesn't want to go to the one with the consortium and they want to run with it anyway, well, so be it. If Justin Trudeau doesn't want to go to all the other ones that he hasn't agreed to, then so be it. It's going to be up to the Canadian public to watch and decide. It's not going to be up to the network executives this time, and they've lost their control, which is really what they're sad about. My question is, why are all these people in the print side sad about this? Your organizations are having a bigger say. And progressives, I just don't get them.